Hi everyone! So like the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about the new Netflix series, Hollywood. So first let's talk about the plot and a little bit of the background of the series. This is another one of Ryan Murphy's project, and if you don't know who he is, he's basically the creator behind shows like this, and this, which tends to always start off promising, but falls quite short along the way, and Hollywood is no different. It's basically sold as a what if story set in post World War II Hollywood, where the characters in the story try to make a film that is very progressive and inclusive for their time. And guess what? They were successful and received little to none backlash despite the racism, sexism, and homophobia that is still very prevalent in the 1940s to 2020 American society. The cast and characters are very diverse, almost too diverse to be true, because they seem to want representation of everything. Like, let's sprinkle in a black gay writer, a female owner of the studio, a tiny lesbian scene, two colored actresses who ended up winning Oscars, and did you know that Darren Criss, the guy who plays Blaine in Glee, is half Asian? But let's lead the series with, you guessed it, a basic white pretty boy who dreams of making it big in Tinseltown. Now, I'm not going to lie, this series is fun and light to watch. I literally finished it in a day, and I had absolutely no problem with it at first. I think, despite the cliche La La Land storyline, it did a really good job paying homage to actual people in Hollywood history who were discriminated against by their race, like Anna May Wong, whose Asian lead role was replaced by a white actress, and Hattie McDaniel, who was the first colored woman to win an Oscar. The show introduced them to a newer generation and give them happy endings, which I really appreciate. And I'm glad that they also include Rock Hudson, who was a heartthrob back in the golden age of Hollywood. He actually died of AIDS in the 1980s, which raised speculation of his sexuality. But I feel like it's really important to include his character because he was one of the first few celebrities who admitted that he had the disease when the President of America didn't even acknowledge its existence. I think it's really important for fighting against AIDS. I like that they shine the spotlight and give minorities an opportunity to rewrite the story. It calls out the privileges of passing as white in Darren Criss's character, and it shows the impact of representation, but it just seemed too much of a stretch. What if scenes in movies are fun? Like in La La Land, there's a dream sequence with a happy ending where the two characters ended up together. Or in 500 Days of Summer, there's an expectation versus reality scene. But I think the reason it wasn't overdone in those movies is because it's just a scene and not the entire plot line of the movie. In La La Land and 500 Days of Summer, the what if wasn't a reality, but in the series Hollywood, it's the entire premise of the series. Yeah, it's fun to imagine what if Hollywood is not racist, what if it's not sexist or homophobic. The series allows these characters who were discriminated to live a fantasy life that just started to happen in recent years' reality. And of course, we root for those characters to succeed. But when they achieve those things so easily, it just seemed like a quick fix, and the message loses its impact because now it seems like the series is telling you that if Rock Hudson had just came out sooner, or if colored actors would just stick out a little longer, they would face slight setbacks in their lives, but their career would be fine. And their career would still go on, which is way too optimistic and ignorant given how these people were treated at the time period and now. I think this show is not really Hollywood making up for their mistakes, but I think it's more like glamorizing and downplaying the discrimination which is seen up until today. I think it would make much more sense and be much more impactful if they have a couple of episodes to show the audience that this is just a what if a fantasy of this character or that character and maybe actually show the reality of things. I mean, when was the last time you see a colored actress win Best Leading Actress for the Oscar? Certainly not the 1940s or 2019 even. And does anyone ever who came out as gay in the 1940s have their own romantic comedy and don't have to conceal their sexuality? Last I checked, I didn't see any. And do characters in Hollywood still get whitewashed up until today? Yep, that's your answer. This series is optimistic and it might not intend to ignore the long history of discrimination and prejudice in Hollywood, but I think that if a series want to do a retelling of history, you should maybe not sugarcoat the difficulties that the minorities at the time had to go through. Anyways, that's a wrap on my Netflix Hollywood series review. This is going to be the first video that's going up on my channel, so I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know if you agree or disagree with me, and let me know if I got anything wrong in this video, because I know that there's a lot of facts in it as well as opinions. And yeah, if you made it this far in the video, I'm gonna cue a round of applause just for you and for me. And we're gonna end it on that note. Bye and see you soon.